Trading has begun. Enter short. Stopped short. Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
And just like that, our day is over. So a net minus $13. So points wise, we were flat. We only lost commission. So rounded to $13 today. I don't need to post this, but obviously I did. And there is some value in this for people. So that's mainly the reason why I'm posting this one. Now, there's going to be a lot of arguments when you look at stuff like this. Why did you give so much back? Why did you give so much back? Why did you enter this trade here? Why did you do this? Why didn't you do that? Listen, they all may be fine arguments, but you're kind of missing the point here. What I have done and what we always try to do every day is to exhibit what people need most, which is discipline to follow a plan. So that is the answer to any lingering question that may start with, but why didn't you? Or why this? Or why that? That's the reason. I'm not saying any comments aren't necessarily valid, but you would have to test that. And if you want to build that algo based on whatever you believe, that's fine. That's what it's all about. Taking an idea, you got to start with an idea and seeing if it actually plays out. You have to do the work. So, do that work. I can think of any number of reasons why I would go against some of these positions that I had here today. And that's fine. I could build an algo for that if I chose to. I'm using this one, you may have noticed. And that's all there is to it. Because ultimately, I realize you do want to make money. But in order to do that programmatically, you have to have the discipline to trade the program that you wrote and vetted, and you've got the stats for, so you know what's going on. I'm done for this algo for the day. I suspect if I kept it running, in fact, I almost guarantee it's going to have more trades. But that's not part of the plan. That's not the plan of this algo. So that's off the board. It doesn't matter. I could look into today at the close of the day and see what it could have made in the afternoon, but I don't play those games. Those games were already played when we were vetting this system and deciding what we needed to do. You got to fill in all the variables. That's the great thing about programmatic trading. You are forced to fill in all the variables in the what ifs, or else the program doesn't run, right? So that's the whole reason for putting up nothing burger videos like this. And I've mentioned many times, I lose way more trades in way more days than I win. So this is technically going to go down as a losing day, minus $13. And it doesn't matter what happens Monday or this afternoon. This is a Friday being March 27th. But looking at how the market has been over the last few weeks, which is, pretty choppy, the last couple days, quite a bit down. That's why I'm kind of half looking for a bit of a bounce here later today for what it's worth. But that brought in the idea of me going to loser Mike Norman's channel to see how he was faring, because how I had mentioned he's mentally unstable, and if there's ever proof that a guy can spend 40 years in the field with an education, member of 4 exchanges, also never wrong, evidently, and he can spend 40 years and learn absolutely nothing. He has said this many times, and I will echo this. The only reason for any success that this guy ever had on the floor was riding the tails of a buddy trader of his that was handling big money. So yes, it's not all that difficult, and it takes zero talent to front run orders. And that's the only way Mike Norman, this loser, ever had any success. Let's take a look at some of his trades that we know he has over the last year. Let's take a look. All right, so let's take a look at a couple of the trades that we know he has on. So this is the 5-year treasuries. I kind of let that slip, I think, on a recent video that you could see that we were short. We were long, and we didn't take a lot of profits up here, but we were slightly profitable on this 5-year from going way back. Remember, Mike has been long treasuries forever, and he ended up hanging on to it, all of this. Now look, as the bleeding in the treasuries stopped, will he eventually become profitable? Well, sure. A long treasuries is ultimately a winning game. But this failure to see what's going on and have any process and being stuck like he is, just, I'm right. My MMT understanding is just all nonsense. But, he's right. Well, great. Congratulations, dude. You're right, and you're losing money. And that's Mike Norman in a nutshell. Mike Norman is now made zero money in a year. You know, the guy that says he's never wrong. He has the understanding of what the market is going to do because his MMT fiscal flows. How is that working out? Have I not been screaming this for years about this guy at this point? Not as long as I've been laughing at Two Tick Nick, but, he's just a bigger jester than Mike Norman. Mike Norman has problems, just different types of problems. Mike Norman now has made zero money, so you can tell he's getting all burly and, cheesed off at the world. And this is all on his shoulders. Nobody forced him to stay long through all of this stuff. And he's worse off for it. Take a look at his JP Morgan. Let's take a look at this because he's on all over that. So JP Morgan. Yeah, all this dip buying he did, all he did is raise his cost base, and now he's worse off than July because he's raised his cost base this entire time. So even in one of his best stocks, JP Morgan, he has now made zero money in almost a year. Let's take a look at the stock that he refuses to talk about anymore. Yeah, Coinbase. You guys know it. I'm a broken record on this shit. What is it, 5 years ago? When he entered this long, Mr. I'm Never Wrong, entered at 325. Yeah, baby. What is this? 85, 90% drawdown? 90%. 90% drawdown, never being wrong. A blind man could have traded this better. And again, I'm surprised he didn't come out and say, remember this Coinbase I bought 5 years ago and I lost 90% of my money? Well, it's finally up, 10%. No. Down. So here again, this is an example of what he will never talk about again. I mentioned it up here. I didn't mention it here. I didn't mention it down here except to remind everybody what he was doing back here. All this is because the guy refuses to just take a loss. His excuse. I've said it before. Taking a loss, stopping out, tells the world that you think the market is going lower for that security, and you don't know that. And you know what I always say? Flip the coin around, dumbass. There's two sides to every coin. Not stopping out tells the world that you think it's going higher. Guess what? Stopping out at least stems the money losses that you had. And what are you going to tell me? You didn't buy that much, so that 90% loss? Because this is the next excuse people use all the time. Well, I didn't have that much, so the 90% loss of it wasn't a big deal. Well, guess what? The 10% gain you had was even less of a deal. They don't want to look at it that way. It's just I've got to make this thing sound like I'm not wrong. And that is Mike Norman in a nutshell. So yes, here was his recent video. Is MMT the reason for the sick comments on that channel? No, it's just your shitty trading and your bullshit and your lying. So this was yesterday. I haven't watched the video because I went here for the chuckles, for the comment section. Someone on a recent video of mine had mentioned to me that people have been roasting him over the last week. And rightly so. Mr. I'm Never Wrong has his comeuppance. And it's starting to happen now. This loser, this guy that tells you He understands the market and he knows what's going on, has now made zero money in a year. All he's done is lose. And he's never going to admit this. He is too old and freaking senile and mentally checked out to ever learn anything. Imagine 40 years in the business, having at your feet the best of the best opportunities. And this is what you become, an absolute loser. This comment section is funny as shit. So I see this here person, Kara Bujin Times, I don't know. Several comments, very funny. You got to read that type of stuff. Now, he's ventured into the political game. And for a guy that voted for Trump constantly and thinks Trump derangement syndrome is applicable to the other side of the coin, this shows you how mentally checked out this guy is. The first time I heard Trump derangement syndrome, I just assumed we meant what most people now mean. It's the MAGAs. They're the ones with the Trump derangement syndrome. That's this guy in a nutshell. It doesn't matter how bad Trump gets. They will love this guy and hug this guy. Listen, we have old ladies from Pennsylvania figuring it out. What's this guy's problem? So yeah, just go through. I went through and read some of these comment sections. Yeah, they are flaming his ass. Somebody said here that he was paying for his service, $100. And now, of course, the guy that's saying he's paying for his service. Yeah, this guy right here. I paid nearly $100 a month for your report. Don't use it. Educational. I don't know what that means. I know you don't use it, or unless you want to counter it. I don't trade and have been shocked to hear someone I thought was solid loses shit over. Yeah. This is a lot of politics stuff. But if you don't trade and you're spending $100 a month, what the hell are you doing? He's got some funny comments, but I just can't understand why anyone would pay anything for this guy's service. And you see it here. And this is an example right here. I come here to learn about how you see and use MMT. Don't. It's ridiculous. I'm banned from this channel for obvious reasons, but some of you guys aren't. Have to go in there and tap the reply button on some of these guys and tell them to come over to my channel and see how to start making money and stop with this absolute unvetted nonsense. This guy can't produce a portfolio for you for a reason. And he knows it. I know it. More people are starting to see, but it's not complete yet. There are so many people here that still think that this foolishness using MMT to try to trade the markets has worked. It hasn't. How's it worked out, buddy? How's it worked out? Coinbase, treasuries, your best stocks. How's it worked out, buddy? Like I said, he's nothing but a buy and holder and a bad one. Oh, and this guy again, femboy Lindsey Graham. Anyway, I'm going to let this thing roll off here. This video is definitely long enough, but yeah, I just had to come back here and take a look because I just know this clown, this foolish old man who just thinks he's never wrong, yet just obviously wrong all the time. I had to come to his channel during times like now because the market's starting to get bad. And this guy, since he refuses to stop out and he just wants to keep adding, you know, and that's all he's going to say here. Just add some more. Next week, add. Next week. Yeah, well, here in reality, we have a finite amount of funds. And no one can add like you claim you're just adding. It's just utter nonsense. This guy is an absolute fool, and I will never tire of pointing this out. Never. The day this guy shows you a portfolio is the day everyone finally leaves him because they will see that MMT Trader, it means nothing when it comes to your bottom line. This guy has made zero money in a year. Still better than Two Tick Nick. See ya.